Hello Crystal Souls and stuff here on YouTube as well as on Instagram. Welcome back to the channel today. Today I wanted to share with you two of my most recent makes. And so for these makes I use this lovely, it's a tie-dye knit fabric from Minerva. And I'll leave a link to the fabric below. So I decided to make a two-piece outfit with this fabric. So the first thing that I made was this Simplicity 8421. And this is a pattern from 1978. And so I decided to make this pattern because Joy Bernhardt and Viv Mom, they decided to have a quick Joy Viv So Vintage challenge to sew a pattern before 1995. And so I decided to, this motivated me to just go ahead and use some of one of my older patterns that I picked up from thrifting, because you know I love thrifting. So anyway, I decided to do this cute little top, and it comes in, it has pretty much three different ways that you can sew. There's long sleeves, there's sleeveless, but it has like a kind of a overhang cap. And then I decided to make mine 3/4 sleeve. So I did the long sleeve version, but I cut it off here at the elbow. So this is a really easy pattern. There were 5 pattern pieces. There's the front, the back, the sleeves, and then there is the casing. So you have to attach the casing to the bottom. So you can see you attach the casing to the bottom. And then there's a pattern piece for the drawstring. And also, I forgot to say, so there's 6. There's pockets. So cute little patch pockets that you sew on to the front. And you can barely see them because the tie-dye kind of blends so well together. So this is a super easy pattern. So what you did was they just had you sew knit tape in the seam. They asked you to put it in the front, which I'm used to putting it in the back. So I just put my my iron-on stay tape on the back of the seam, and then sew that down. And then they just want you to fold over the top. So this part is not sewn down at all. So, but I went on ahead and I serged the edges. Can you see it? So I just not serged it. I did overcast stitch on my sewing machine for the edges, and it just kind of folds down. You baste it down before you sew the front to the back. So that was really super easy. The directions were very clear. The only thing is there wasn't a pattern layout for how to cut it out. So I forgot to cut out the casing and the drawstring, and I had to go back and cut that out because I forgot to cut that out. But anyway, it was a super easy pattern, and it's really clearly marked, because for the sleeves you had to sew at 3/8, the side seams you had to sew at 5/8. So you just had to pay attention to the actual pattern piece to know where to, to know the seam allowance for different sections. But most of it, so the side seams, the hem for the bottom to go to the casing and the drawstring, that was 5/8. And then the sleeves were 3/8. So it was a super easy pattern, very beginner friendly. So if you're in a thrift store, and I think I got to say at Savers a couple years ago, and if you're ever in a thrift store and you see that pattern, definitely pick it up. It's super easy, and I really would like to make this again. I think it would look really cute in like a sweatshirt fabric, and I might even consider doing a kangaroo kind of style pouch instead of the 2 patch pockets here, because these are little patch pockets, and they're kind of not very deep. So I would like for them to be a little bit deeper. So I will probably do one of those kangaroo pockets right on the front to have more room for the pockets. But I think it would look so cute as a sweatshirt as well. So that is the first thing that I made. And then the second thing that I made was that Nielsen Axel skirt. And this is such a cute pattern that I picked up at the DC Frock Tales. It was in my little goodie bag that I showed you in my review of the DC Frock Tales that I went to at the beginning of the month. So this was a super easy pattern. There are 3 versions, and let me show you here. There are 3 versions. There's one kind of like a long tulip style. There's one with the V-slit in the front. And then there's a shorter version with the ties on the hips. So I did version 3, which has the slit in the front. And this was a really simple pattern to sew. So not too many pattern pieces. So there's a front. You cut the front out twice. And then you cut the back out twice. And then you cut the waistband, and you only need to cut that once. So and then fold it down. So super easy pattern. So in order to sew it up, first you sew the 2 backs together, and then you sew the 2 fronts to the 2 backs that you just sewed together, and then you hemmed up the opening. So you hemmed up the opening from the middle all the way around to the back. So both sides of the opening as well as all the way around. And then you sewed this front section together. So super easy. And then you just sewed the waistband over top. So I did most of this on a serger. So I did the side seams and this front seam as well as the waistband all on the serger. So it's super easy. It took me like maybe 30-45 minutes to finish the whole thing, and you know, like maybe 15 minutes to cut everything out. So it was like you can finish this in an hour, and I'm not a quick sewer at all, especially if you have a serger. If you have a serger, and if you don't have a serger, you could totally do this all on a zigzag stitch or use an overcast stitch on your sewing machine. Super easy pattern. I highly recommend it. And I would like to do the other 2 versions at some point. And I went on Instagram and saw all the different versions of this skirt. It's a wonderful skirt. And let me tell you a little bit more about the pattern. The pattern comes, I have my pattern packet is in their standard range. But they now, I think last year or the year before, they just started a curve size range, which expands their sizes to larger ranges. So now the pattern comes in hip sizes 34 inches to 56 inches. And I sewed a size large in the normal range, which is the next to the last size in their normal range. But the next size is size 14, and the size 14 overlaps in the normal range and the curve range. So which is good, because sometimes I don't like it when they have something that goes, like in the big 4, they have something that goes 0 to 12, and then they have 14 to 22, and sometimes I fall right in that middle section. So usually sometimes I'm a 16 in the hips in the big 4, and the range will only go to 14. So if it's something that comes with a top and a bottom, I have to get both the ranges. So anyway, that's just my own little issue. But I do like that these it overlaps. So, but you still might have a problem if you're like me, if it was a dress, you know, because I'm in the smaller range for the tops, and sometimes I lean into the larger ranges for bottoms. But I think I'm all in the standard range for the Axel. For Megan Neilson patterns based on my measurements. But anyway, I wish they would all just put all the patterns in one thing. That's just my whole thing. If you're gonna have a pattern that comes in all the sizes, just give everybody all the sizes so that the person can decide how they're gonna to sew it, because we all come in different sizes. Anyway, those are my reviews for the Megan Nielsen Axel skirt, which I highly recommend, as well as this Simplicity 8421 top. And the fabric is again from Minerva, and I'll leave a link to the fabric below. It's a really cute tie-dye fabric, and it has a very suede, it has like a suede feel, but it's very lightweight. And I decided to make it a two-piece. That way I could transition this into spring from winter into spring, because the weather is all over the place. Because when I took these pictures, and I'll show the pictures in a minute, when I took the pictures, it was warm that day. Like I took it on what, Tuesday or Wednesday, and it was super warm, and now it's cold again. you can't go outside with open toe shoes today, because the wind is kicking. It feels like it's gonna snow. I haven't checked the weather, but it got cold again. So anyway, the weather is fluctuating, but I'm feeling all these spring vibes. I'm ready for spring, and so this is a nice, like, transitional color fabric, and I really like it, and I'll be able to wear this in all seasons. I could just wear a jacket over it in the fall. I could wear it with the skirt in the spring and summer. So anyway, I really enjoy this fabric, and here are some pictures and twirls of me out on the deck. For watching and tuning in today. Stay tuned. Next up, I'll be going over my 2 makes for the Black History Month Pattern Designers Challenge. I'm almost finished my my shawl, my cardigan. Well, it's a capelet, and by Baron Handmade, and I'm almost done with that. And I'm also making the Erica dress by Styles on Me Patterns. So if you can, just come back next time and hit the subscribe button if you haven't, so you can get an update when that video comes out. And I look forward to seeing you all next time. Take care. Bye.